Hey there, this is episode 53 of the Digital Marketing Masters podcast. Can you believe it's been a year? If it's the first time that you're joining us, thank you so much for tuning in. And there's tons of podcasts out there. I'd like to thank you for choosing the Digital Marketing Masters podcast. If you are listening for the first time, please consider subscribing. We're on all of the podcast platforms, so hit that subscribe button. And I would really appreciate it if you could leave me an honest review of this podcast on Apple Podcasts. It will help me to improve my podcast game and try and give you more content that you need. Also, if you're a long-time listener, feel free to say hello on social media. I'm on Facebook. It's Yolanda Rose. Again, I'm also on Instagram. It's Yolanda Rose 7. So say hello. Is there something specific that you would like me to talk about in this podcast, to get some experts on here for you? Let me know. I just want to help you improve your digital media. Now, this episode of the Digital Marketing Masters podcast is sponsored by my free online masterclass entitled Digital Disciple. Now, we are all called to the Great Commission, and this is my bit where I want to help churches or those in ministry to help you guys understand digital media and how you can use these resources to expand your online influence and to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. So if you are interested in attending this free masterclass, go to www.yolandarose.com/digital disciple and sign up. So today on the show, I'm giving you 5 things churches can do to up your social media and digital media game. Now, a lot of the times we find that people that lead the church are older folks, and duly so, because the older folks are more mature, they have their calling. But we are living in the digital age, and I believe that digital media has a role to play in the modern church. That's the reason for today's show, and also with regards to the Digital Disciple Masterclass as well. So today I'm going to give you 5 things that the church can do to up the digital media game and to expand their online reach. Now, the first thing that you need to do, if you're a small church, a community-based church with not a lot of resources to get a fully paid digital media team or anything like that, is that you need to create a Gmail address for your church. Now, this Gmail address is not for communication for your followers or anything like that, but the Gmail address is basically to access Google services for your church. So go to gmail.com and create your church email address. So the thing about this, though, this email address needs to be easily accessible to those that the church entrusts with the social media accounts. The social media accounts of the church should not be on somebody's personal email accounts and things like that, because if something happens to that person, how are you going to access the church details online? So it's important to just have a standalone email address that opens all of your social media, and all of your social media accounts run through this one address, just for easy management of your digital media. And why I advocate Gmail is Gmail gives you access to the entire Google suite. We're talking about Google advertising, the advertising network, Google My Business, YouTube, and it just opens up a range of products that your church can use to expand the digital reach. So go ahead and create that Gmail address as well. So the next thing that you want to do is update your location on Google Maps. Now, there is a feature called Google My Business Listing. And although your church is not a business, but it is a local location in your community. So with your same Gmail address, you're going to log into your Google account, and you're going to set up basically your address and mapping features. So when people are looking for a local church in your area or searching for your church specifically, it's going to show up on Google Maps, and the whole directions can come into play. And it also links into Waze as well. Waze is the mapping software that's owned by Google and integrates with Google Maps. So if you have somebody from out of town or somebody visiting your church, they can easily Google you, get directions using Google Maps. It just makes things a whole lot easier. Now, there's a little bit of steps in this process. I'm not going to discuss it here, but I have listed it up for you step by step. You can grab my free download Okay, so to get my free download, go to www.yolandarose.com/DMM53 and you can get this free digital download how you can set up Google My Business with Google Maps for your local church. The next thing you got to do to up your digital media game is to build and create a social media presence. Now, before you do this, you need a digital media strategy. And I want you to sign up for my free digital media masterclass entitled Digital Disciple. So in this training, I'm going to teach you all about the functionalities of the various social media platforms. I will show you strategies that you can use to expand your church's reach in the community, and I will also show you the role that digital media can play in the modern church. So go and sign up for my free masterclass. It's www.yolandarose.com/digital disciple. There is a live version. Just follow me on social media or keep an eye on my website. I will be announcing the dates. I know it's a busy time for churches right now. We're a couple of days away from Christmas and everybody's busy. And by now, a lot of the departments have shut down in the church. Look out for the free training in mid-January or early January, where I will be training the church folks on how to use digital media for your churches. The next thing that you need in your church is a church website. Now, your church is not operational 24 hours. If you guys are, good for you. But the average local church is not open for 24 hours. But one thing that is open 24 hours is your church website. Now, over the years, the price of actually getting and obtaining a website has dropped drastically. In fact, from a couple of dollars a month, you can have a fully fledged website for your church, interactive, responsive, on mobile, tablets, on desktops. It's essential. I think every church, no matter your size or the type of audience that you're serving, you need a church website. It's your digital front door, and it's open 24 hours. It's easily accessible, and if you use your website in the correct way with a strategy in place, it can be the point of communication for your church, where if they need to know about church meetings, download sermons, download videos, that's the kind of capacity that a church website can give you. I'll discuss more about this in detail and how you can go about getting your church website at affordable costs in the Digital Disciple Masterclass. So sign up for that and we'll really crack down on the value of a church website. And the last thing that churches need to have in place to really up the digital media game is to set up a digital media team. Now, this is a dedicated team with a mandate that includes the vision of your church. Now, whatever the vision of your church is, whether it's discipleship, evangelism, or a community center, whatever your mandate of your church is, it needs a digital media team. Now, this is not a function that you just hand over to the young people in your church because they are tech savvy, but digital media is something that's strategic. It needs to fit in with the vision of your church, and there's a technical aspect as well. Digital media for me is 80% strategic and 20% technical, because the technical parts you can easily outsource or hand over to the younger members of your team. But the strategy needs to come from your senior leaders and somebody that really understands the functionalities of digital media. So work with senior members of your team. Involve them. They need to be involved in your digital media. They need to curate the content that goes out, that it clearly reflects the mandate of your church and the vision of your church, and also the gospel as well. So you need the senior people working hand in hand with your younger people that could easily be handling your tech side, because honestly they're tech savvy, but you need that strategic leadership in your digital media team. Now, the digital media team is not a replacement for any of your other teams. Just like your church has various projects like social outreach, prison ministry, maybe a TV ministry, a radio ministry. Digital media is a ministry all on its own. And we're going to be unlocking all of that in the Digital Disciple Masterclass that's happening in January 2020. So please sign up for that. share this podcast and share the news of the digital discipleship training with friends, family, and loved ones, and church members as well. And stay tuned to the Digital Marketing Masters podcast on Apple and on Spotify. There's a new episode every week, and we're talking about all things digital media for your business, and we'll give you some tips for the church as well. So that's it for me on this episode of the Digital Marketing Masters podcast. I'll chat to you soon.